It all comes down to this. After 15 races, there are just 3 more remaining in the ADAC Formula 4 2022 season. By the end of this weekend, we will know the identity of the new champion in ADAC Formula 4. For a long time, it looked like it was going to be Kimi Antonelli. Andrea Kimi Antonelli, who led the championship by such a long way. We look at him there lined up on the grid here at the Nürburgring. And Antonelli at one point looked like he was going to have this championship sewn up mid-summer. But the man who has been tracking him down and chasing him all the way has been the number 77 English driver, Taylor Barnard, for PHM Racing. But Andrea Kimi Antonelli is a man on a roll. He's had 7 wins this season in the 15 races, so nearly 50% of the races have gone his way. But he has still got a lot of work to do this weekend. He leads Taylor Barnard by 34 points coming into this weekend. So the championship is very much still open, but it is advantage Antonelli. He needs to keep out of trouble. Taylor Barnard, to a degree, has nothing to lose. He can pretty well throw caution to the wind. That 34-point gap could so easily disappear if Andrea Kimi Antonelli just makes one mistake, has one non-finish, loses a front wing. And here at the Nürburgring, the conditions are very, very tricky. The man who has conquered the conditions so far has been that man there, Rafael Camara for Prema Racing, scoring his first ever pole position in ADAC Formula 4 Germany. And it's his first time ever at the Nürburgring. Of course, a lot of the drivers were here back in August, racing in the glorious sunshine. Oh, that feels like a distant memory, doesn't it? But Rafael Camara had COVID at the time and was unable to take part, but that's had no effect whatsoever because he has taken a great pole position here in what are very challenging conditions. The Nürburgring circuit, well, it has its own weather system, doesn't it? Sometimes it's foggy, sometimes it's raining, but sometimes the sun shines. It has been raining pretty well on and off for the last couple of days. The fog was thick this morning, but in the last few minutes the sun has come out and the fog has disappeared off into the distance. So we're hoping for dry conditions for the rest of the weekend, but I wouldn't hold your breath on that one. And Andrea Kimi Antonelli will be hoping that the conditions are consistent and suit his driving style. You can see that on his car he has the wet weather tyres because the circuit is very greasy. So anybody who came into this weekend thinking this championship was done and dusted is very much mistaken. Firstly, Rafael Camara has got the pole position, not Andrea Kimi Antonelli. They may both be racing for Prema, but they are teammates in name only. And Rafael Camara is looking for his second win of the season. He won his first at the season opener back at Spa in April. So they will be racing hard with each other. Another Prema driver lines up third on the grid. That is James Wharton in the number 13 car, the young Australian who has been really quick this year in the ADAC Formula 4. Took his first win at the Nürburgring when they were here last, and he will be looking to repeat that. And there is the man who is closing on the championship leader. To remind you, at the beginning of August, he was over 100 points adrift of the championship lead. Now he is just 34 points adrift. 25 points for a race win. So by my calculations, if Andrea Kimi Antonelli were to go on and win this race, the first race of the weekend, then Taylor Barnard would need to finish 5th or better to keep the championship alive. But for Andrea Kimi Antonelli, he has a mountain to climb because his teammate is in front of him, his teammate is behind him. All are looking for their chance to get to the top of the podium. And Taylor Barnard, as we've already mentioned, very much has nothing to lose and will be charging through the pack. Now, talking to Taylor at the end of Lausitz's ring, he really much felt as though he was out of the championship hunt. That is a dangerous position for his opponents, because that just says he will be happy to go for it and throw everything at this championship challenge. It is race 16 of an 18-race season for the ADAC Formula 4 Germany. Races 1 and 2 of the weekend are today, and then the season finale, the closing race of the season, is tomorrow afternoon. We are at the Nürburgring, a circuit that is 5.148 kilometers around. That equates to about 3.199 miles. 15 turns, 6 to the left and 9 to the right. We are using the Grand Prix configuration, so many of the drivers were here back in August for round 4, but that was the short course. This is the larger circuit, the one that the Formula 1 drivers use, the one that they hope to be racing in Formula 1 in years to come. This is the racing that shows us the stars of the future in open wheel racing. Many of these going on to greater things from this, and none more so than Andrea Kimi Antonelli. He is already in the Ferrari Drivers Academy, and he is one that they are all looking at, as indeed is our pole sitter Rafael Camara and Taylor Barnard and James Wharton, all drivers with great futures ahead of them. We haven't mentioned the driver that starts 5th on the grid, Nikita Bedrin. Now, he is a driver who has been spectacular this year, a real entertainer. He's only managed to take 1 win, that was at the Lausitz ring, but he is a very fierce force in Formula 4 racing. Keep an eye on him. Also keep an eye on the number 19 car, Valentin Kloos. He is the ADAC Sports Foundation protege, and he has only joined this series in May, because he's only just become old enough. He turned 15 in May, and he is already impressing. So keep an eye on the number 19 Valentin Kloos car. He looking to make a name for himself. We also welcome back Uga Chukwu, who lines up 8th on the grid in this race, and he is another driver who's one of the up-and-coming challengers. And of course, he is one of the talent drivers. He is in the McLaren Junior team. You can see from the camera lens that there is still rain in the air. There is a bit of drizzle around in places. One of the things about the Nürburgring so often is you have different weather conditions at different parts of the circuit. This is going to test these young drivers. They are going to need to draw on everything. If one of the championship challengers ends up in the gravel trap, it will turn the championship upside down. Taylor Barnard needs to finish. Andrea Kimi Antonelli needs to stay out of trouble. The formation lap has been done. There's a bit of heat that's been generated into the wet weather tyres. Now, there is the possibility, of course, that some of these drivers may need to pit for dry weather tyres if the track dries out. We'll see how that pans out as this race unfolds in front of us. It will be 30 minutes of racing. We just wait for clearance. There we go. The green flag at the back says that everybody is in place and ready to go. The 4 lights are on. When they go off, we are racing, and it's go for the first of 3 races this weekend. A great start from Camara, and also a great start from Antonelli into turn 1. This is going to be critical. The drivers need to keep it together, not get into trouble. Taylor Barnard just taking a look on the outside very wisely. The drivers just tiptoeing around that first corner. It's quite a tricky corner with a weird reverse camber, but everybody has made it, and into the first series of corners we go. A little bit of challenging further back. 2 of the Prema cars. That looks like Valentin Kloos there as well, and he goes round the outside. Both of them, I told you he was good, didn't I? But all the cars making it around the first couple of corners, and it is Rafael Camara who leads the way at the moment from Andrea Kimi Antonelli. Nikita Bedrin looks like he has got the jump on Taylor Barnard by the looks of things. The PHM cars, looking very identical, as indeed are the Prema cars. So slip sliding around the corner we come, down into the Grand Prix section. Right, a challenge position. Now this is James Wharton, who is in front of Andrea Kimi Antonelli. Antonelli knows he needs to stay out of trouble, so James Wharton into second place, but here comes Antonelli around the outside to steal that position away. And Nikita Bedrin at the back of that trio as well. So Antonelli dicing for places. And there is Taylor Barnard taking a completely different line, and it might be that he's trying to cool those tyres already, because the wet weather tyres will overheat if this track dries out. He can see teammate Nikita Bedrin in front of him. Bedrin will not be in a hurry to move over and let Barnard pass. There we go, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all running very much together. It is Rafael Camara who leads the way at the moment from Andrea Kimi Antonelli. In the background there is Valentin Kloos and Taylor Barnard as well. Taylor Barnard now looking to the side of Nikita Bedrin into the last corner of the circuit. Now tiptoeing around, Taylor Barnard moves to the inside. He needs to make progress from here. Along the pit straight they come. And Nikita Bedrin just holding on to that position, and that is Valentin Kloos driving very defensively. Now the race stewards might have something to say about that very defensive move in towards turn 1. We're keeping our eyes up ahead, and this battle between Bedrin and Barnard continues to rage on. It is advantage Barnard. He has managed to get past in turns 1 and 2, and Bedrin is relegated down a position. Now Taylor Barnard really does need to get in front of Andrea Kimi Antonelli. So the race is still very much in its early stages. There are still 27 minutes remaining of this race, so plenty of time for this to unfold. And Rafael Camara opening up a gap at the front, which is nearly 1 second further back. Drivers scrapping for positions. To remind you, there are 3 championships up for grabs, and we haven't mentioned the rookie championship yet. Rasmus Utsimis is leading the rookie championship from Rafael Camara by 16 points. But Rasmus Utsimis in the number 24 car is a long way back. He was being shown in last place. He has found a route past David Birambakti, but he has got a lot of work to do from there, because his main challenger in the Rookie Championship is currently leading this race and will make a massive gain in the points if things remain as they are. Once again, Valentin Kloos with the yellow halo challenging Mikael Sauter. Behind them is the number 41 car. That's Jonas Reed for PHM Racing. Little bit. We are 25 minutes, 25 and 3/4 minutes still to go of this race, so plenty of time. And at the moment it's Camara who leads the way from Antonelli. Wharton now coming under pressure. Taylor Barnard doing what he needs to do, and that is stay out of trouble and just work his way forwards. And if he can find a route pass, you can see them sliding out of turn 15, and that shows how slippery it is. Now, if Taylor Barnard can find a route past Wharton, he will see his main championship challenger directly in front of him, and of course that will be quite an incentive for him. But the problem is that Taylor Barnard has Nikita Bedrin just behind him. Bedrin, who has been something of a revelation this year in terms of racecraft, not making mistakes, a very solid driver, not scared to get involved. Driver who's registered Italian this year. Barnard taking a much wider line into the corner, a little bit too wide, almost opens the gap for Nikita Bedrin, but holds on to that position. All of that has allowed James Wharton and Uga Chukwu behind. So it's kind of a pincer movement with the cars behind and the cars in front. A Prema sandwich with 2 PHM cars in the middle. But behind Bedrin is Uga Chukwu. And Chukwu, who has been very impressive in just his only 1 outing in ADAC Formula 4 Germany this year, which was here at the Nürburgring back in August, closing in on this battle. So that little moment there for Taylor Barnard has caused him to drop back a little. You can see from your graphic there are still 24 minutes remaining of this race, and it is Rafael Camara who leads the way, championship leader. Andrea Kimi Antonelli in second place, James Wharton in third. So it's a Prema Racing 1, 2, 3. And then it's Taylor Barnard ahead of Nikita Bedrin and Ugo Ugachukwu, who is in 6th place. Then Mikhail Sauter in 7th, Valentin Klus in 8th, Jonas Reed in 9th, and Rasmus Utsimis in 10th, with Nan David Birenbakdi in 11th place. All the cars still running, and well done to all the drivers in these tricky conditions. Everybody keeping it together. Now the question is, what is going to happen with these tyres? To make a pit stop would drop a driver a long way back, but these tyres have got to go the distance. It looks like the track is remaining reasonably damp at the moment, and wet weather tyres on a drying track don't last. But it is a shortish race, still a little over 22 minutes to go. You see the drivers taking some unusual lines, just trying to keep those tyres cool by driving through the water that is off the racing line. And the track's still looking fairly greasy at the moment. It is still Rafael Camara. Now, Andrea Kimi Antonelli looks to be closing in. It was 0.932 when they crossed the line last time. It's certainly less than that now. So Andrea Kimi Antonelli has his eyes on the top step of the podium. How hard will Rafael Camara defend? Again, Camara will be aware that Antonelli has a championship to win as the Prema team look on. The mighty Prema racing team, who have brought so many stars through the ranks and have been a force to be reckoned with this year. And their cars are 1, 2, 3 in this race. The drivers are instructed, don't take each other out, but you try telling that to an up-and-coming superstar. You can see the dry line on the track that is appearing, and you can see some of the drivers just trying to move off that dry line to keep the tyres cool, but the track is drying out very quickly at the moment. And this race, with 21.5 minutes to go, may well be all about tyres, tyre degradation and strategy. Still Camara leading. Now for Antonelli to get past, it will require some fairly brave driving. And of course, Antonelli cannot afford a non-finish. He cannot afford a penalty, and he cannot afford to lose a front wing or anything silly like that, because his main championship rival is just 2 places behind, Taylor Barnard. So the first two just stretching their legs a little. Now let's have a look. The gap between first and second, well, as they cross the line, it's still 9/10 of a second. But I think that's changing. Now here comes Barnard, just trying to cool his tyres, ducking out onto the wet part of the track. James Wharton fairly steady in 3rd place. So Wharton continues. He can see Barnard behind. And as long as Wharton is there, Antonelli will be happy. Very much a rear gunner, although I'm sure Wharton wouldn't agree with that description. But there he is in 3rd place. Taylor Barnard is behind him. The sun is coming out. The skies are going blue, so this track is going to dry out fairly quickly. A little bit of a wobble under braking for Wharton. Those tyres starting to get very tired, and Taylor Barnard must fancy his chances of getting past the number 13 car. And it may well be tyre preservation that shows us the outcome of this race. Still Rafael Camara leading the way. Andrea Kimi Antonelli in 2nd. 3rd, James Wharton. Closing in is Taylor Barnard. And then it's Nikita Bedrin and Ugo Ugachukwu. So the cars very much as you were. You can see that dry line. Barnard just going offline to cool the tyres a little. There's Nikita Bedrin. Behind him, Ugo Ugachukwu in the number 16 car. Another of the mighty Prema drivers. So PHM Racing, their highest placed driver at the moment is Taylor Barnard. In 4th place, of course, PHM, who came from the ashes of Muka Motorsport and are still very much in the team championship, but a Prema 1-2 would put a fairly big dent in that. It is the results from the 2 best classified cars that are taken into account as Michael Sauter takes a very wide line out of turn 30, turn 14 and 15, and sliding onto the grass. Michael Sauter, who is the privately owned driver and team. His father runs the team, and it's great father and son combination. They turn up with a car on the back of a trailer, none of your flash transporters, and it really is proper grassroots stuff. And it's great to see Michael Sauter making a name for himself in Formula 4 as we watch Rasmus Utsimies now closing in on Jonas Reed. Jonas Reed is in 9th place. Rasmus Utsimies currently the rookie championship leader, but that is going to all change unless he can make some progress, because Rafael Camara, also a rookie, would you believe, is leading this race at the moment. He's opened the gap up to over a second, so 1.15 over Andrea Kimi Antonelli. And there is Jonas Reed in the number 41 PHM racing car. Lots of double takes because so many of the cars are identical, running in team colours. But Jonas Reed, who looking to improve on his best result of the year so far. He's had a couple of 5th places. Now, this is the battle for the lead. So the gap was 1.115 seconds, but you can see that has closed down now because Camara has Antonelli filling his mirrors. The two Prema cars have broken free of 3rd place. So this will allow Antonelli to make his challenge on the lead. He ducks to the wet stuff to try and cool the tyres as they head towards Vidal, the chicane. And out they come up towards turn 15, which will bring them out onto the pit straight. And you can see the cars just ducking around and darting and sliding. Now onto the pit straight. This is the best overtaking opportunity on the circuit, but I would suggest that Antonelli is way too far back to make a move into turn 1 on this occasion. This is the corner where many a driver has come unstuck over the years, taking a completely different line into the corner. Camara just slowing it down, keeping it steady, not allowing himself to be hassled by the number 12 car behind him that is filling his mirrors. Andrea Kimi Antonelli all the while will have that championship in the back of his mind. It's his to win, but he needs to not make any mistakes. And Rafael Camara will know that. That's Jonas Reed and Rasmus Utsimies that have got together. So Jonas Reed is spun, and you can see the wheel spin, so it looks like there's damage to the car. Now this may well bring out a safety car, because it looks to me as though the number 41 car is not going anywhere. And I think it's Rasmus Utsimies that was with him, but you can see there's damage to the number 41 car, so this is going to cause problems because that car is stranded out on the circuit. So we'll keep an eye on what race control are going to do about that. We keep an eye on our leaders at the moment, but this may well bring out a safety car. We are just approaching the halfway point of the halfway point of the race. 15 minutes gone, 15 minutes remain, and there is a car stranded out on track. Now, what is going to happen? It may be that it's out of harm's way. I suspect it probably isn't, and it might need to be moved. Safety car is out. So, safety car has been deployed. The cars are going to be brought back to a much slower pace. All the gaps are going to disappear, and this will throw a whole different light on the race. So the safety car is out to retrieve the Jonas Reed car, the number 41 car, which is stranded out on track. And there was damage to the rear of that car, which meant that the wheels were spinning, but they weren't making contact with the tarmac. So this is going to really change the dynamic of things, because they're going to be bunched up. Now, in all of that, it looked like Taylor Barnard, I don't think he'd got in front of James Wharton. Just for one moment, it looked like he was in front of him, but I don't think he was. There is the safety car. We'll just check. Now, it looks to me like Barnard is up into 3rd place, and James Wharton. So in all of that, Barnard has found a route past James Wharton. While we were concentrating on the stranded car. So it's Rasmus Simmons and Jonas Reed that are being retrieved, as you can see. That's obviously into turn 1. Nobody has chosen to come into the pits for a tyre change. I think that would be just too much of a gamble. And you can see how keen Antonelli is, keeping the tyres cool, but also filling the mirrors of Rafael Camara. Now, when this race restarts, Taylor Barnard is going to be on the back of his main championship rival. Now, what's he going to do about this? Because he can make a move past the second place. He is given an opportunity. If he sees so much of the slightest of gaps, Taylor Barnard will try and make a move on that second place. So look at this. Rafael Camara, Andrea Kimi Antonelli, Taylor Barnard, James Wharton, who's been relegated down to 4th place, Nikita Bedrin. I would suggest that all of those have a sight on the top step of the podium. But Andrea Kimi Antonelli knows that he needs to finish. He cannot afford to end up in the gravel trap. Taylor Barnard, who's already very much discounted himself from this championship, will have caution to the wind, because he's very much in contention, but in his head is not. And that is always a dangerous position for somebody who is leading the championship and somebody behind who really is just going to go for it. And that's exactly what Taylor Barnard might do. He's looking to become the 3rd British driver in a row to win the ADAC Formula 4 Championship. Of course, last year it was Ollie Bierman who won the championship. The year before that, it was Johnny Edgar. So Taylor Barnard would love to make it the 3rd consecutive driver, British driver, to win the ADAC Formula 4 Germany Championship. You can see it's cool. The dry line is still there on track. It doesn't look like anybody is going to look at tyre strategy in terms of changing, but it is all still to play for. As we approach the final third of this race in a few moments, the safety car is going to be in and we will be back racing. And suddenly, Andrea Kimi Antonelli, having had that big gap over his main championship rival, Taylor Barnard, will see him in his rear view mirrors, and Barnard may well have sights on getting past the number 12 car. Camara in the lead, and Antonelli, that age-old dilemma. If he tries to make a challenge for the lead, will he just end up letting in 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th place and find himself railroaded down to the back of the pack? We will find out in a few minutes. The track is still being cleared at the moment as we just head into turn 1. We'll take a little look and see what the state of play is. So it looks as though the cars have been removed. I would suggest that probably the next time around we may the last of the stricken cars being removed from the circuit, and then in a moment the lights will go off on the safety car and control of the race will be handed over to Rafael Camara, and it will be his job to then control the pace. There is the entire pack of cars -2 all in a queue, and there is the Jonas Reed car being removed from the circuit. So the field is bunched up. How long have we got? Less than 10 minutes. The incident, as you'd expect, between Jonas Reed and Rasmus Simmons has been referred to the stewards. It was not going to be one that was going to affect the overall championship. It is one that is going to affect the rookie championship, because Rasmus Simmons was leading the rookie championship coming into this race. That is all going to change because Rafael Camara is likely to score maximum points. So looks as though the safety car is going to be coming in just a few moments. Under yellow flag conditions here at the Nürburgring. We are getting ready to go back racing. It will be 8 3/4 minutes remaining. So this is all set to get very lively in these last few minutes of this. It is the first of 3 races this weekend for the ADAC Formula 4 Germany. Race 1 and race 2 today, and then the top 8 finishers in race 2 will be reversed to form the grid for race 3 tomorrow afternoon, and that will always create action. Right, lights are off on the safety car. Here we go then. What do we got? 8 minutes remaining. The cars are all in a queue. Rafael Camara is leading the way. Championship leader Andrea Kimi Antonelli is in second. Second in the championship, Taylor Barnard is just behind him. It's another of Prema drivers, James Wharton in 4th place, and then Nikita Bedrin rounding out the top 5. Now Camara really bringing everything down to a crawling place. It will be his decision when he goes. He'll want to catch Antonelli snoozing if he can. Now there's a bit of a gap. Taylor Barnard has allowed Antonelli to get away. That's exactly what Antonelli needed. He will have an opportunity now. Down the pit straight, in towards turn 1. This may be Antonelli's best opportunity to take the lead of this race. The first 2 have broken away. Taylor Barnard has dropped back. This is significant. Into turn 1 we come. You can see challenges for position further back, but this is the one we're interested in. Antonelli to the inside. Rafael Camara now taking a tighter line. Antonelli goes deep. One of the PHM cars going straight on. But it is still Camara who leads the way. Now Barnard has dropped in that. Just looking closely at the numbers, Barnard has dropped down into 4th place. So it looks like Wharton has got past him. So Taylor Barnard struggling for traction because Ugo Ugachukwu there, but also Mikhail Sauter, who often enjoys these slippery conditions. The wet track is the great leveler, and Mikhail Sauter making up a position there. And Ugo Ugachukwu is dropping back. Valentin Klus in the mix there as well. But a challenge for the lead from Andrea Kimi Antonelli. He couldn't make it stick into turn 1, but significantly James Wharton got past Taylor Barnard. So, far from making a challenge on Kimi Antonelli, Barnard ended going backwards, and suddenly he's staring at the back of the number 13 car once again. All that hard work that he did early on in the race, he's going to have to do it all again. That Prema car is back in front. It's a Prema 1, 2, 3. Rafael Camara leading the way. Andrea Kimi Antonelli in second. Now Taylor Barnard alongside James Wharton. He can't afford to do that. A non-finish from Taylor Barnard and the championship will be over. So Taylor Barnard loses another position to Mikhail Sauter. So by my reckoning, Taylor Barnard needs to finish where he is now to keep this championship alive. So suddenly things are starting to come unraveled for the number 77 car. The 1-2 still remaining the same. Rafael Camara leading the way. Andrea Kimi Antonelli to the inside. Antonelli takes the lead, but now Camara comes back. A tighter line, the 2 cars sliding around turn 15. Along the pit straight they come, side by side. It's going to be a drag race in to turn 1. Who is going to break last? Who's going to hold that line? Challenges behind, but look at this for the lead into turn 1, and it is Camara, but Antonelli has the tighter line. They slide around, and still Rafael Camara holds on to the lead, and Andrea Kimi Antonelli in second place. Great stuff here from these 2 Prema drivers. Now Antonelli sees the gap on the inside. Under braking is Andrea Kimi Antonelli. Still can't quite make it stick. Rafael Camara just placing the number 88 car where he needs to, but now with more traction out of the corner, and it looks like Antonelli has taken the lead. So Andrea Kimi Antonelli leading the way at the moment. Rafael Camara into second place, but now Camara coming back. Great stuff here. Andrea Kimi Antonelli not worrying about the championship. He wants the win of this race. So Antonelli leads the way Kamara in second, Wharton in third. I'm trying to look back to see what's happening further back. Great driving from Michael Sauter up into fourth place. Taylor Barnard down into fifth. The incident between Wharton and Barnard is being noted. So the race stewards are looking at an incident between James Wharton and Taylor Barnard. Now, Rafael Kamara. Oh, he's just seen his second win of the season disappear from him. He's going to have another go at it, though. Less than 3.5 minutes remaining. It's Andrea Kimi Antonelli who leads the way at the moment. If things finish as they are, then Antonelli will have not sewn up the championship, but Barnard will be absolutely dependent on Antonelli having a nightmare in the next two races, and suddenly it will be looking like a long stretch to win this championship. At the moment, Andrea Kimi Antonelli leading the way, Rafael Kamara in second. Out of turn 15 they come, less than 3 minutes going on this race. And Taylor Barnard looking at the back of Michael Sauter. He really does need to get past the number 21 car if he wants to make any progress at all in this championship. You can see him in the background heading towards turn one. It's Sauter on the left, Barnard on the right, under braking into turn one. Sauter, who is turning it into a very useful pilot indeed, takes the wider line, slides out, and Barnard steals away that position. So Barnard's up in a fourth place. So the championship stays alive until the next race. But Andrea Kimi Antonelli in exactly the position he needs to be. And Barnard now in a position where he needs Antonelli to have the worst luck possible, because the championship very much in reach for the Prema driver. So Barnard breaking clear of Sauter. And that's Ugo Gachukwu, who's also finding a route past the 21 car. Michael Sauter, what a fighter. And a real favourite with the fans, the number 21 car. Did some good progress there, and he's not giving up, is he? Looking to the outside, then back to the inside, and then that inside becomes an outside again. They slide around the corner. Ugo Gachukwu shuts the door, and Sauter is relegated down to sixth place. You can see that the track is very much drying in places. The cars are all running on wet weather tyres, and getting to the end is important. They've only got 1 minute and 10 seconds remaining of this race, and it's Andrea Kimi Antonelli who is doing everything that he needs to do to get this championship sewn up as soon as possible. A great fight between him and Rafael Kamara. They did well to avoid each other. I should think the briefing in Prema Racing this morning was fairly lively. Do not drive into each other, and that's exactly what they've done. They've avoided each other, they've raced well, and it is Andrea Kimi Antonelli ahead of Rafael Kamara and James Wharton at Prema Racing 1, 2, 3, and then it's Taylor Barnard. Right, they cross the line. So with less than 30 seconds remaining on the clock, this is going to be the last lap of the race for Andrea Kimi Antonelli ahead of Rafael Kamara, James Wharton and Taylor Barnard in that fourth place. Behind Taylor Barnard, Ugo Gachukwu and Michael Sauter after a valiant effort for the young privateer. We're looking at the leaders still. You'd like to think that Rafael Kamara hasn't even given up on it. Last lap of the race, just one mistake from Andrea Kimi Antonelli and Rafael Kamara will be through. It has to be said, Antonelli is not famous for making mistakes. An absolute superstar of the future. He's just about going to keep the championship going until the next race. Well, at least Taylor Barnard is, because he is in fourth place. So it won't be Antonelli yet. But for Taylor Barnard to win this championship now, he needs Andrea Kimi Antonelli to have a couple of non-finishes, to be honest. But any of this season, this weekend, it's Andrea Kimi Antonelli in the closing stages of this race. On the final lap, with Rafael Camara behind him. The 1-2, they have been the class of the field all race long. James Wharton, a fairly distant third place. But Andrea Kimi Antonelli doing exactly what he needs to do as they head towards the Vidal chicane for the last time. And then it'll be up towards turn 14 and then turn 15, the final corner of the circuit. And it will be the fires Andrea Kimi Antonelli. He's got one hand on the championship trophy because he wins race 1 of the weekend, race 16 of an 18-race season. Second across the line, Rafael Camara. And then a gap back to James Wharton. Taylor Barnard in 4th place, keeping the championship alive just. And then it's Uga Chukwu in 5th place ahead of Mikhail Sauter. And Nikita Bedrin, a fairly quiet race by his standards, crossing the line in 7th. And then Nandavid Birambadi ahead of Valentin Jonas Reed and Rasmus Utsimi's non-finishers. There is Valentin Kloos. Still very much at the beginning of his racing career and doing a great job. Has already attracted the attention of the ADAC and receives sponsorship from them. So as the cars wind down after what has been a thoroughly entertaining race. So the question is, can Andrea Kimi Antonelli tie this one up? Car 13 received a black and white flag for pushing another car off the circuit. So James Wharton did receive a warning from the stewards. Of course, the black and white flag is a warning. It doesn't mean that any penalty has been applied at this time. It does mean that any further incidents like that throughout the weekend, and he may receive a penalty. There is the number 88 car, Rafael Camara, the Brazilian driver, who looked for a while as though he was going to win this race. But the Mercedes Junior driver, an absolute superstar. There is no doubt whatsoever that we will see him coming through the ranks of Formula 3, Formula 2, and almost certainly Formula 1, I should say, with that level of talent. Andrea Kimi Antonelli from Italy, another dominant performance, and that makes it his 8th win of the season. As far as the rookie standings go, well, our highest placed rookie, that was Rafael Camara, and that will move him to the top of the rookie standings. I haven't worked out the maths on the team championship, but there is no doubt that Prema will have extended their championship lead and surely must be unassailable now in the team championship. So Andrea Kimi Antonelli receiving congratulations from the Prema team. A great mature drive. Camara and Antonelli going wheel to wheel for much of the race. A little tidier, get the right sponsors on, that's right. And look at that, May filling the 1, 2, 3. Any driver who wants to go anywhere, driving for Prema, that is a good start, isn't it? The mighty Prema Racing, once again locking out the podium. And all credit to Mikhail Sauter. You see his car has been pulled back into the garage there. I've said it before, I say it again. The privateers, the father and son combination. The father runs the team, the son drives the car. And they tow that car with a van all the way from Switzerland. And it's wonderful to see proper grassroots stuff and taking it to all the big names in Formula 4 racing. So an entertaining race 1 of the weekend. That's race 16. Of the 18-race season. There is another race this afternoon later on as we take a look at some of the highlights from earlier on in this race. We see the cars as they approached turn 1 at the beginning of 30 minutes of racing. And it was Rafael Camara who led the way, Andrea Kimi Antonelli having to fight his way through. The 1, 2, 3 of the Prema cars fighting hard and sliding in those conditions. That was Mikael Sauter, the young privateer. And there was the spinning cars that brought out the safety car. And it was Jonas Reed who was removed from the circuit, allowing the safety car to go back in. We went back to green flag conditions. And once again, it was Camara who led the way. But Antonelli challenging all the way. Then this battle that had us captivated. The first and the second changing positions. There were cars going wide in the slippery conditions. And one of them was Taylor Barnard. And maybe that would have been a defining moment in the championship. Again, Camara and Antonelli going wheel to wheel. They kept it clean. There was no contact between them. The two cars absolutely driving cleanly in such challenging conditions. And eventually, it was Andrea Kimi Antonelli who came through to take the win and the top step of the podium. So great stuff. Great entertainment, not the biggest field of Formula 4 cars you've ever seen, but that just proves you do not need 30, 40 cars for a good race. You only need 2 really for a good race, and the top 2 in this particular challenge certainly gave us a great race. The cars are being pulled back into the garage at the moment, and very shortly we hope to bring you the podium ceremony. And when we can bring you the podium ceremony, we will very, very shortly. Hopefully we'll see the 3 Prema drivers up on the podium. A great weekend here in ADAC Racing Weekend. All sorts of classic racing cars that have been out on circuit entertaining us all weekend in these challenging conditions. And I'm so pleased the fog has lifted as we just look down at the garage and we just wait. That looks like Taylor Barnard there, who is in the pit lane just chatting to an engineer. Looks like him. We're waiting for the 3 drivers to make it onto the podium. Sadly, Taylor Barnard is not one of those drivers. I say sadly because it means that the championship, well, I'd say that Andrea Kimi Antonelli now has about 1.5 hands on the championship. He will have picked up 25 points for that win. And that's, I'm going to get my calculator out to make sure my dodgy maths is okay. So that will give him 278 points. And Taylor Barnard, with his 4th place, that will have given him 12 points. So that will, it's live calculations on air, that will give him 231 points. So it really is now looking very much like an Antonelli championship because there are just 47 points, or just, there is a massive 47 points between them. And that is with 50 points remaining this weekend. So really now for Taylor Barnard to win this championship, he is going to need Antonelli to have a couple of torrid races. And I have to say, Antonelli, well, the worst result he has had all year has been a 4th place at Spa-Francorchamps. Apart from that, he has finished in either 1st or 2nd in every race. Oh, and he got a 4th place at the Nürburgring last time here as well. So Antonelli with 1.5 hands, try and picture that if you can, on the championship trophy. We're looking at the podium at the moment. And here comes our drivers. And the 3rd place, James Wharton, taking his position on the 3rd step. The 2nd place driver will be Rafael Camara. He came so close to earning his 2nd win of the season, but it wasn't to be, because it was the man, the oncoming storm, the tsunami, whatever you want to call him, Andrea Kimi Antonelli, will not stop. He is looking to be almost unbeatable in ADAC Formula 4, and he takes the top step of the podium. So we just wait now. I think we'll get a representative from Prema onto the podium as well. for the team championship. And of course, James Wharton and Rafael Kamara, both rookies. Now we stand for the national anthem.
Right, after the podium, we don't have the highlights because we can't go.
So with the national anthem sounding out around the Nürburgring and a sea of Prema drivers on the podium, a depressing sight for all of the other teams. The trophies will be presented, and James Wharton picks up his third place trophy. He doesn't look especially delighted about it because he knows his teammates in front of him are proving pretty hard to beat. In second place, that's Rafael Kamara getting his trophy. Lovely trophies. Andrea Kimi Antonelli, at such a young age, he's going to need a new trophy cabinet. He's picked up a fair few this year, and this is just the start of it. The trophy being presented to Prema Racing, the winning team. And the highest placed rookie, of course, being Rafael Kamara. So he will get a second trophy. He's going to need a wheelbarrow to get that lot out of here, isn't he? So there we go, Kamara with his second place, with his winning rookie trophy. And the three drivers and representative from Prema Racing pose for the photographs. So it has been a thoroughly entertaining race. Race 1 of 3 this weekend. The second race is at 4:25 local time this afternoon, and that will be the penultimate race of the championship. Will that man there, Andrea Kimi Antonelli, be able to tie this championship up in race 2? Join us later to find out. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.